There we go. That should audio's working. This is the San Carlos Computer Club starting 20 minutes late. Thanks for joining us. I'm Scott Stimson from International Computer Solutions. I'm the yada yada yada, just catching up. None of the stuff about the monitors out there, but that's okay. I'm taking it anyway. Thank you. Well, okay. As far as topics I brought with me, here's one you might be interested in. Netflix just announced that they're going to offer higher quality audio. If you've been watching Netflix and feeling like the audio's not quite right, you were probably right. And apparently, it took the creators of Stranger Things to sit down and do some audio experiments with their content to realize they were very unimpressed with what Netflix was offering. And so they prompted Netflix to upgrade their audio quality. And so now it looks like we're going to be getting up to 640K at no additional cost. 640K downloads for that would support the 5.1 surround sound, right? So if you got speakers all around your house, you'll be able. I didn't realize that we weren't being able to take advantage of that right now. I mean, I knew I had dropouts at times when I'm watching it. There are times when you're like, this is supposed to be digital media. How come it sounds so bad? And it did sound like it was coming through a paper cup. They also, I didn't know this, there's a premium subscription that you can pay, I think $2 more for.
Yeah, we buy it.
And you'll get up to 768 kilobits per second audio. So those are very high class audio rates. It's not lossless audio, but it's almost imperceivable lossless audio.
Well, their rate is also because if you want to have it on your TVs and on your tablets and on your computers, that many devices, you have to buy the premium. But the premium is also the 4K. So if you're not, it's worth it to just pay that and get it on everything you want.
And get everything. So how many accounts do you get with the premium?
As many as you want. I've got it on my living room TV, my bedroom TV. We've got it on the laptop. And I now have it on my IPTV box.
But like, how many streams can you have going continuously? Like, I know there's a plan for like 5 streams,
for yourself,
right?
Yeah. And then I, like, if Bill's watching it in the living room and I don't want to watch it and I want to go in the bedroom and watch it,
right?
I
And
just
so
go
you can
in
have
there on Linda.
You can have 2 continuous streams. So
Yeah,
so the premium is there. What's the limit on the number of streams? You think it's 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have it.
You mean 4 going?
That's right.
Yeah.
My grandson-in-law signed me up in Washington. He's in California.
Mm-hmm. And gave you a password so that you could get at it from here? Yeah.
I have my own. I have one here. I didn't want to take any more. He has 4, so I was the 4th.
Oh, okay.
So,
right.
But they want to stop the sharing. I read an article about that.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, this month they're supposed to be starting to crack down on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it'll be interesting to see all these moves that Netflix is making. I think are counterintuitive to what they need to be doing if they're going to be competing against all these streaming services that are coming out. And they've set up to borrow more money. They've made the service more expensive. They're trying to put limitations on things. Of course, this is my business, and you see how I'm not worth billions of dollars, so they must know what they're doing. But none of that sounds like those are great moves for where you're going in the future.
Yeah, but I know it's a bitly, but we just downloaded Silent Ghost HD.
Okay.
And the Cinema HD, and you get every TV series. They've got Outlander, they've got the Crazy Asians, and they've got every the latest movies.
This is Cinema HD. You mentioned that the week before last.
Silent Ghost HD.
And Silent Ghost HD. I haven't taken the time to look either of those up yet.
There's no ads. There's nothing. You've got a thing for the TV series and a thing for the movies.
Yeah, I gotta
and
look
you
that
can,
up.
you can search movies in there.
How much does it cost?
It's free.
This is what's really weird is
It is
recently.
a Bitly though, so
It's what?
some people don't like them. Is that what you call it, a Bitly?
I
BITLY?
Oh, it's a bit.ly link.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the problem with link shorteners is that they could be pointing at something you don't want. So what do? You go out on the internet and you search for Silent Ghost HD,
Yeah.
and then you find some discussion group where they're sharing a bit.ly link? Is that how that works?
You can download it. I have the Bitly link for that.
For the download?
Mhm.
Okay.
I have the Bitly link for the download. The Cinema HD, I didn't need that.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to look at that. Because these link shorteners, like a bit.ly link, is a link you should be questioning because it could be a link to anywhere. So it's a security risk when you use a link like that. You always want to look for a legitimate link.
Well, Josh, the contractor, is the one who gave it to me. We haven't had any problem with it so far. So.
Well, I think we all feel better knowing Josh has vetted it.
Make a sip of coffee at the wrong time.
Anyway, we've had good luck with it.
That's great. I have to honestly say that recently I feel like finding free resources to watch shows and TV has become very easy. I am not searching hard. I can't imagine how I would. I can't imagine paying for any of this content at this point because it's so amply available. I don't have enough hours left in my day to take advantage of something that's hard to get a hold of. That I would actually be paying for.
But actually, we've been watching more on Amazon Mexico than we've been watching on.
Well, that's the other thing too. Is with Amazon Prime available, there's, yeah.
The only problem is when we go to the U.S., then we can't use it.
Because it's a Mexican Prime that you're using.
Right. That's the only problem with them. You have to have them both.
I bet it.
Netflix, when you go across, you just get the U.S. one.
So you don't get any content? Like if you were to go look at Prime Video in the United States from your Prime account.
I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I bet there's a collection of Prime Video that's international. That you would have, it's a small collection. I don't expect it to be big, but a handful of items that traverse borders. There is that part of American Prime where they say these are shows you can watch anywhere in the world. And I wouldn't be surprised if Mexico doesn't have that's coming.
Well, I'm going to be going up to Tucson shortly.
Just try it, yeah.
I could try it and see if I get it up there.
Yeah. Like for me, it's.
I don't know.
Would it be the 15th, 16th, or 17th? For me, it's very difficult to know how that's working because I own both under my account. I own American Prime and Mexican Prime.
Oh.
And so it's not obvious whether. I mean, I've got the same collection that's available.
Well, I only own Mexican.
Yeah, so this will be a neat test to see if there's a collection of something that you can see outside of Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good idea. Topic for next season. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll come on October with some answers to that question.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Somebody better write that down.
It'll be new business.
Okay.
We also, if you guys haven't been using it, YouTube Music has been a great app. I've really enjoyed it. It's an app you can download into your phones. I haven't been using it so much on my phone. I've been using it on my Android TV. You can just bring it up, and one of the things that I really enjoy about it is when you first set it up, it has this dynamic range of artists that you scroll through and you put check marks on. And it builds playlists for you and recommendations out of those artists. And this list just goes on, and you could spend all day just checking your favorite artists to be included in this list. And they have a premium and they have a free. I'm only using the free. But the premium's features are interesting. For one, the music on YouTube is made up out of their own collection of licensed music plus music videos that are published on YouTube. And one of the features for paying for the premium app is to have the option to not play the video. The reason you would not play the video is because it takes up more bandwidth. And so to cut down on the usage, on your usage on a mobile device, you might pay for YouTube Music Premium so those videos aren't taking up your data cap. It's just an example of how odd their premium is. Another odd premium feature. See, like, I didn't feel like that was anything necessary for me to pay for, but it's one of the things that they're asking people to pay for. Another thing they're asking people to pay for is the ability to leave the app playing while you're doing something else. So on a mobile device, that would actually make a lot of sense. Say you want to look in your calendar or look up somebody's phone number. The moment you do that from the mobile app, the music turns off. Right? The whole time you have to stay focused on the music app. So they're taking these little inconveniences that people would like to rectify, and they're saying, well, you can pay for that, for the rectification of those inconveniences. Otherwise, it's a free app. And I bring it up, I've brought it up before because I've really enjoyed the app. I use it a lot. But they are now adding the ability to play local files. So on that same device you have your own collection of music. YouTube Music will index that and make it available to you as well. So you can have the same user experience as their YouTube Music app, but it'll play the files you have in your device as well.
Well, the Mexicans turned me on to Django.
Django.
Right. And this is the same. I was using this in my car before I got my, and this is, they got like hits from the A's, Eagles, and you can do your own thing too.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they just play music.
Can you leave the app?
And do something else.
Like,
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just put it in the background. See, that ability is what's missing from YouTube Music. Django, I'm gonna look that up too.
You know, when I bought my first Mexican car, before we had our Sirius.
Did you have to sign up for an account with Django?
No.
That's great, because YouTube, the free YouTube Music, I think you have to be signed in with a Google account.
And the Mexicans are the one that told me about this in the car dealership.
That's cool.
Well, I use it in the car, but the problem is we have a lot, when you're traveling here, you get a lot of dead spots. Like when you're going on 15, past Hermosillo.
Well, and when you're using these apps like this, you're definitely eating into your data cap, your cell contract.
Yeah. So, but so they got the whole thing, the hits from the 70s, 80s, 90s. But then I've got Springsteen radio, I got Eagles radio, I got Chicago doobies.
Now did you set up your profile like that, or is that how you deal with it?
Hold on.
Like, one of the things that I really liked about the YouTube Music was being given a list of artists to choose from, so that then when it's mixing music for me, it's pulling from those styles and those people.
That's it.
So did it give you a similar kind of experience? Were you able to choose artists to kind of define your profile?
They have like Chicago, and then they have a lot of people that go with Chicago.
Yeah, it's the same kind of experience.
It's the same thing, doobies.
Yeah, because that's exactly how YouTube Music, if you pick something like Chicago, immediately it falls down to, oh, well, maybe you're interested in this guy and this guy and this guy.
Yeah, sorry it was loud. Sometimes when you're listening in the car, when I put this up to the radio, I hook this up to my radio, then it plays on the speakers.
Okay, so I've got some other questions then. Will it play local music? I mean, like stuff that's stored on your SD card?
I think so.
Okay, because that's what's new in YouTube Music. That's the reason I was bringing up YouTube Music, because that's what's new. And even though it's new, it's not ideal yet. Like, you can't put them in playlists with YouTube Music that's out there in the cloud. You can't create a playlist of songs you have on your device as well as songs you enjoy out of the cloud.
Well, this is
Stations. What about
Set your own.
What about Explore? No, it doesn't look like it has a way to. Oh no, that's love songs, not local songs. It's all genres. You can. It looks more like a Pandora
type,
kind of interface.
Yeah.
Yeah. But worth looking into. I'm gonna look it up.
Oh yeah, they have everything in here.
Classical.
They have World International. They have the decades, New Age,
It would have your 50s.
Music Fest, Funk, Travel, Reggae, Folk, Jazz, Gospel, Alternative,
So I can
Metal,
get rid of
Rock.
my. Does it have like talk radio type things? too?
Can you cast it? Because that's another thing in the new YouTube music is you can't cast it, right? You can't cast your local songs. And this would be going to like a Chromecast or something like that, or a YouTube interface. They're saying that that using the local files from your device, you're not able to use the casting feature.
That I don't know because I don't use it now so much as I have my Sirius radio in the car.
So you would not get rid of Sirius for that?
No, because you know what? When, like I said, when you're traveling, you get dead spots.
With this? With that?
Yeah, because you're still using your cell, and our cell, like places like from Hermosillo North, you don't realize it, but your phone has a lot of dead spots.
There's a dropout right by the Rock on the way out of town.
Yeah, there are.
Make the turn to Wymus, all of a sudden you're disconnected.
But I have AT&T and I don't have those.
Well, then maybe you wouldn't have them, but you get drop spots all the way down when we go down to Guayabitos.
Oh, really?
You get drop, like past Navajoa, and you get drop spots down in there where the cell towers drop.
You know, another thing that I found interesting about this topic is that it looks like Google is going to replace Google Music Play with YouTube Music. That the YouTube Music app is the new Google Music app. And they're sliding it into that position. And they will probably do it the same way they did Picasa and Google Photos, is they will reach a point where they're just going to abandon the other app. But I found that interesting because there are so many of our devices that you don't have a choice. That music app is part of the operating system. You can't pull it off of the phone.
Right.
And so that's going to be an interesting situation to deal with in the future with older equipment. I mean, you have a perfectly functioning cell phone with an app that Google will no longer support stuck on it because that's the way it was sold.
Well, you can't totally get rid of them, but you can turn them off.
Yeah, I mean that's what would happen is, I guess if you're positioned with this is the default app, it won't change, then what you're really looking at is a phone that's like Android 4, and you should get rid of that phone anyway. You shouldn't be using that phone anyway. It's like a Windows 95 computer. Yeah. You should just be done with it by now.
Well, it's like Hangouts.
Which is still a thing.
It still shows on a lot of people's phones when you go in there to try and clean up their phones.
Yeah.
And try to give them some space. That's why I tell people, don't buy those phones over at Telcel. They have so much garbage on them, and you can't get rid of a lot of it.
Yeah.
And then it winds up they've only got 2 gigabytes, and they start putting in all of these programs in there. Next thing you know, they're out of it.
Yeah. Well, one thing on the Huawei phones, I've got a Huawei, my daughter's got a Huawei, these Honor 6X and Honor 7X, they don't let you put apps on your SD card. So I love my Honor phone. I think it's a great budget, fully featured smartphone.
Uh-huh.
But one of the things I don't appreciate about it is you want that internal storage. You want to have an idea of how many apps you're going to be putting on it. I bought this with 32 gigs, but I would not be as happy with this phone if I had bought it with 16 gigs of internal storage. That's all there would be for apps, and half of that's the operating system. So you only have about 8 gigs to put applications on.
You can't put your apps
with the Huawei default system. You cannot put apps on the SD card.
But when
your Moto, you can't? Yeah, you can. On most, you can.
Yeah, you have to format the SD card for
Mhm.
internal storage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on most Android phones that are like Android 5 and higher, you can move apps to your SD card,
Yeah, but every time they update, you gotta.
move them around again. Yeah, well, it depends
That's what
on
we
the
do on here.
platform.
Yeah,
So,
but Google doesn't allow their apps on the SD
yeah, it depends on the developer yes, but the Huawei specifically do not allow apps on the SD cards. There's no way to format it.
Oh.
There's no way to move them over. The SD card is strictly for content. But that also includes data settings too. Like your data settings can be offboarded to your SD card. They use some kind of internal logic to determine what goes over there because you set it as a default. And so anything you're creating, anything that you're downloading, all goes to the SD card. But the apps don't install to the SD card. You can't move them to the SD card. More topics?
I have a story.
Okay.
So, 10 days ago, my phone was real staticky, and my internet, I keep having to reboot on it. So, I called the 050, and I first reported the internet. Okay, so I got that reported. Then I do it again, and I report the phone. So, after 3 days, I go down to Telmex and say, nobody's been here yet. So she looks it up and she goes, oh, well, those have been cleared. They're canceled out. I said, no, they aren't. The phone is better, but the internet is not. So she goes, okay. So this is now the fourth day. So she puts in another report at the office.
Right.
She does it.
Yeah, at her terminal.
After 3 days, I go in and I say, my internet is still really, really bad, and nobody's shown up. And she goes in and she goes, oh, well, that's been cleared out. And I said, no, it's not. My phone is fine now, but my internet is still bad. So
Don't worry, it'll just be at
Yesterday.
1 to 3 days
yesterday,
since
she
your
put in
last
another
report.
Now, you go into the office to
Yes,
do this?
yes, I've done it on the 050.
That's right.
I've done it on the office.
If you do it on the 050 and they've been cleared out,
Mm-hmm.
you should be able to make the report again.
I-
If it hasn't been cleared out, it'll tell you there's already a report
Right.
on this number.
Why don't you just call
50.
No, the 8.
I did that. Oh, well, that's
The
right.
English
The
800.
first time I did the 800 and talked to a person.
Yeah.
And then the second time I did the 050, and now I went in and now twice to the office. So this is like.
I never did any satisfactory.
So it'll be another 3 days. So hopefully by Friday. And she has all these modems there. And I said, can I have one of those? Yes.
But
they're
you need a
all
report
used.
number?
They're all used.
They're all used,
Because
okay.
I said,
Yeah.
no, just used. They aren't.
They're recertified.
Oh, okay.
They plugged them in, the lights came on, they're ready to go.
So we'll see. So that should be by Friday. I should see someone or hear from someone. So yeah.
Well, Ross, we'll see you next Tuesday for our last meeting.
I'll be here.
All right.
I don't have an So no.
Well, that sucks, and that's been getting worse and worse this whole season. It's just been amazing. My own internet problems and support issues. I'm taken back by how often it just needs to be a little bit better than the competition. You remember when Mega Cable came in and they were awesome. They had great service, they had great speeds. Everybody's moving over to Mega Cable. They get a niche in the market. And Telmex just completely cleans up all their customer support. They got tech people coming out to your house. They're setting up the modem for you on your computer. And then what happens? They both balanced out now, and they both backed off from customer support. We don't have techs running around town for either. They're both horrible to deal with on the phone. It's
So I was doing the speed test thing. So at home I get 3. 2.8 maybe.
okay.
Maybe.
Is this Loma Del Mar?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. So that's don't
I
don't
know.
tell your neighbors
So
because they'll be
that's good.
disappointed.
I know.
You're like, I
She
wish I
gets
could get
better than-
3.
No, she gets better across the street from me.
Yeah.
So then I go down to the dentist office. They have 30.
Really?
Right.
30.
That's what they got here.
30.
Yeah. That's what I have.
We have 8 in the country.
Do you
club.
really have 30
Really?
right
Oh, you
now?
have 8?
Your problems
That's
have been
quite a bit.
resolved again?
Yes.
I
Oh,
think we
The
got
last
3.
power outage when somebody hit the pole
Three.
or whatever.
yeah.
Well, when they fixed it, it solved my problem.
Wow.
Ah,
Was this
And no, it
recently?
wasn't me.
well, they put a new
Was this
transformer or
recently?
something in, I think.
No, it was a few months ago.
Wow.
Yeah, it was,
But yeah,
was out for
That's
4
funny.
or 5 hours.
yeah, but that resolved all my problems that I was having.
The solution is drive into the pole.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I'm also always surprised at how often things get fixed inadvertently.
Yeah.
Just wow. It's just default. Just had to replace everything, so I guess we're gonna fix these problems too.
You know, there is a new book coming out I just read. It's called Life After Google. Does that mean that Google is going down, or have you heard of that?
Well, it's probably referring to how, like we were talking last week, about how we have, like my kids are this first generation that has from in the womb
Yeah.
to their adult life, every data is being tracked on them, and how that's affecting our culture socially.
Yeah.
I would imagine that's what it's referring to, because we can't look at life the same way as before.
No, I'm going to get the book and see. It's the second best read book in China right now, by the way. Yeah.
Of course, it's not the original book, right?
Yeah.
They misspelled Google on it, and
Yeah.
they distributed it on
You're
paperback.
gonna have to pay a 25% tariff.
Yeah. No, I can get it for free.
Better keep ahead of them.
Just pay shipping.
Just shoot
Hey, on that in that vein, have you guys looked at Google Timelines?
No.
I just became aware of this. It is on Maps. If you go to maps.google.com /timelines /timelines, and you're signed in, this gets really weird, because you will see everywhere you've been with your Android device.
How about with my Apple device?
Well, it'd be interesting to see
See if it
your
does it
Google
too.
services and how they're being tracked, what you're signed
Wow.
into. But you will be able to see, I saw my map for the last year showing all the different places, all the different points on the map that I've been within San Carlos, Guaymas, Phoenix, and Alaska. And if you dig into the points and you use Google Photos, it'll bring up your photos from that time period in that area. And
Way too late.
that's right, it'll show you all the information that's being tracked on you.
Conversations.
I wouldn't be surprised. I didn't look for conversations, but
So it
at
tells
least
me.
you know that your
Yeah.
Google, when you talk to Google, those are definitely part of your Google history. You can go listen to yourself. I can listen to my daughters asking questions from Google. It's because that's all part of the
So
history.
mine tells me location services permission is not set to always.
Okay,
Timeline cannot function properly if you don't allow Google Maps to access your location while in the background, and I don't allow
and you
that.
don't do that.
No.
But you're
Let's see if
probably
I skip it. There's nothing in my timeline.
you know what would be interesting is if you turn that on, if you get historic data, or if you get data from this point on.
Can you then turn it back off?
Oh yeah, you can turn it back on. Well, I think I can.
Because that would be a crazy misuse of information that they're getting.
Now it's not letting me do it at all because I told it never.
Well, one of the things that Google recently has gotten in trouble for, like in the last few months, is they gave you the option to turn off location tracking, but they didn't do it. And they've discovered that they've been tracking location data through their apps, even though you told it specifically not to. So that's why I posed the question. It'd be interesting to see if you turn it on, if you would be inundated with all this historic data that it wasn't supposed to be tracking in the first place.
So is that why sometimes on my phone, if I pin somewhere, like let's just say Tortugas,
Right?
it'll bring a thing up. How did you like your visit to Tortugas?
That's absolutely why.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely why.
Sure.
Because it's keeping track of your locations and it's putting everything in context. But so the way you look at a map of Google of the United States where you are, there's a timeline off to the left, and you can dial in the time period you want to look at. And then lower than that is an index of all the pictures you've taken and other information associated with those locations.
I don't need a rule.
Look at this. This says most of Amazon Prime movies and TV shows can't be accessed abroad as they are exclusive to the U.S. region only. However, you can use a fast, reliable, and affordable Amazon Prime
VPN.
to watch movies on Amazon Prime Video outside the U.S.
They just
With
want to know where you are.
With an Amazon Prime VPN,
I totally knew they were going to do that. I knew it.
you
I
can
knew
unblock the
it.
entire Amazon Prime Video library. So if you're still wondering how to unblock Amazon Prime Video outside the U.S., then read on as we have just the right solution for you.
It only costs.
They just
Yep,
want to track you.
IVACY VPN, which is arguably the best Amazon Prime VPN out there.
And how much is it?
I don't know, I'm going to go to it.
That's what
Here, subscribe to IVACY. Let's see what this says.
IVACY?
Yeah, I'm bringing it up right now.
IVAC.
Probably owned by Amazon. $2.25 a month.
Wait, is this being promoted by Amazon?
They're probably
Or
owned by them.
are you getting hit with an ad for them? Because I'm not aware of Amazon offering a VPN. Amazon offering a VPN. No. I think you've gotten hit with a context targeted ad.
I'm on their website.
Yeah, I don't think they have any affiliation with Amazon. But I'm ready for Amazon to just offer its own VPN service. That's essentially where Cloudflare is going with this stuff. They're gonna.
Okay, so I'll Google, does Amazon own IVACY VPN, right?
Amazon VPN?
Listen to that wind.
Does Amazon
Started
own
last night.
IVACY VPN?
Well, it's raining up in Phoenix.
Well, anyway, timelines. You guys ought to check it out. It's pretty cool. If you're running, it's pretty cool. It's a little nerve-wracking too. If you didn't know you were keeping that kind of information from your phone, now you do.
I should ask you a question before you leave. Did you see if that bypass open?
No,
Not
not
yet.
open yet.
Okay, because somebody said it looked very close.
Oh, yeah, they've got
The south end is totally done.
Oh, it is. It's the north end that's not done.
Where is this?
Still have to go through town.
around Hermosillo.
Oh,
So
That'll
we
be
still have to
nice.
go through Hermosillo.
Yeah, they got all the lines painted on it.
Yeah.
There's a guy out there
Guardrails,
flagging you so you don't take the bypass.
So you
oh, okay.
there
They're
is?
just moving you
Yeah, it
on.
looks like, yeah, there's just rocks across.
Because it's not showing it on Google Maps, but on my other map it does. show
That the rocks is really funny. When I first got here, that was that was a traffic cone. Was rocks and broken
Yeah,
glass
right.
and debris.
it. Doesn't bother
Yeah.
me.
It was really one of those. You'll regret going down this.
Okay, thank you.
But the road is wonderful.
That's what I've heard.
It's wonderful. Just got to get to the border early or wait. I don't have that problem. I get there early.
How early?
If you're before 5:15
In the morning?
in the morning downtown, it's a 5-minute wait. There's
Yeah,
nobody
well,
there. At 5:15 they show up.
I don't drive at dark. In the dark.
Oh, I always do. I love it.
They're
And I
crazy.
howl at the moon as I'm going.
It's owned by this guy that I have from the Stack Social.
Yeah.
I have theirs. It's an unlimited VPN. I guess I should try my
I bet we're gonna start seeing VPN
Amazon on it.
reselling and
Oh,
I still
all
the
it.
VPN topic I'll mention
Sure.
is I've tracked my problem with slowness of Quicken opening and Outlook not being able to send
Oh, that's right.
to a specific VPN where other VPNs work fine.
Oh, interesting.
Civic server in that VPN.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, like the same VPN
And
service,
TIA's
but
Denver server
interesting.
running on my router.
Denver, you say?
You know, who knows what that VPN service does with that router? I don't know.
Wait, there's an official military installation for tracking information in Denver, isn't there? In
I'll bring up my.
where's the mountain?
Well,
The Stargate Mountain.
that's Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
NORAD.
Denver has the second largest U.S. government presence anywhere in the U.S.
See you next week, Jim.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Has the
Bye.
Second largest
military presence?
of government facilities in the entire country.
Yeah. So interesting. Just
That's why it's so expensive and so many people and there's so much crime.
Yeah.
Marijuana's legal.
Well, that's
Yeah.
not the
that's to
problem.
Now
cope.
they want
That's
mushrooms.
just to cope.
I
Now
saw
they want
that.
mushrooms.
I
Yeah,
saw
but the
that.
marijuana gives you a free college education.
Well, yeah.
That's great.
And
They're
mushrooms
share of the
just
money.
because they think peyote takes that sacrament.
Yeah.
And they always tried to have peyote.
We can have peyote farms.
So they just think they're learning something, right?
Five
When
past
they're actually not.
I don't know. I sent a message off to the VPN provider and I'll wait.
Find out what's going on with it, because you're able to hook up to other locations without a problem, without it causing your.
I have a second router with a different
I know
VPN.
what it's
Pardon me.
Fine.
Sorry, guys.
And I tried one just like NordVPN.
It's this wind blowing
Yeah.
stuff around.
Yeah.
We got all
Okay,
those
one
calls.
out of 3 VPNs is having problems. It's probably that VPN.
Hopefully, in this day and age, you can talk to somebody that understands what you're describing.
I've never been able to with Quicken.
Well, I meant with your VPN provider, because it sounds like it's definitely a technical issue with the VPN.
Well, I have a technical one with Quicken where they're using the wrong SQL access path. Nobody understands it.
Okay. But that's not a cloud issue, though, right? Is that a cloud issue?
Wait, no.
Because you do everything locally.
Well, basically, if you do a search by vendor, they don't use this correct access path.
Okay.
Some of the times you will find all the vendors, if they happen to have done a save of this vendor that you can do, then they will find it. But if you just do the whole thing, then they can't find it because they aren't building the access. One of them builds the access point on the fly, the other one uses the pre-built one.
I don't think I quite understand.
Yeah, well, basically, if you're familiar with SQL, it makes total sense of what they're doing, but you can't get through to anyone who understands it. And I could prove it to them. I could show them data and say, okay, I do a search on this person, I can't find it.
I find those kinds of problems well, and that's actually what I was getting at, is that those kinds of problems. We had an issue a year and a half ago where you couldn't find the computer club from specific connections in San Carlos using a specific DNS provided by Telmex. And the problem was the DNS was baked into the router. So depending on which routers you're using,
That problem is probably cached.
well, it's cached out in Telmex's cloud. It's not cached here, and you could go across the street and find somebody that was using a different Telmex DNS, and that would work just fine. And I tried approaching it both from this side with Telmex and from my registrar on the other side, because it wasn't just the computer club, it was anyone using that registrar was not being found by this part of Mexico. My thinking being, if they knew that, maybe they would reach out because of good relations and just say, hey, there's a whole section of your customers that can't reach our part of it. The registrar was in Australia. So there's this huge pile of web domains that you couldn't get at from Telmex because of their stupid DNS.
Well, what I
Oh, it resolved its problem. I think in the same manner Jim's problem was solved. I think somebody ran into it with a truck, and they had to replace equipment, and they inadvertently fixed it. That's
Right.
What I found is as things have progressed in the computer electronics, people know how to click on something and do something, but they don't understand at all what's happening behind the scenes.
right, that abstraction layer.
They're doing more of the electronics and less of the basics.
Mm.
That proved very true in this recent airline crash.
Oh,
The
jeez.
guy, basically, when you're coming in, you have to come in and make the wheels land. And if you hit hard, it's going to bounce. Well, your natural.
You guys are out of here. See you next week.
Push the nose down. But if you
Oh,
push
thank
the nose
you.
down, the front wheel's going to hit, and it's going to push it back and break off the tail and cause a fire.
Yeah.
And you can watch the video and it's like, pilot didn't do the basic flight that he needs to do.
Because he's so trained to fly by wire now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, he's not even trained to fly by wire, because there is fly by wire, which is still manual. What this gentleman's talking about is he's punching in routines on a computer and really not touching anything until something very, very, very problematic is going on. He's watching a video game up until that moment. That's not exactly flying. I'm not quite sure what it is. It's not
It's
exactly flying.
drone piloting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort
It's
of, except
AI
you're on the-
drone piloting.
Yeah.
And
Except you're
unfortunately,
on.
the computer industry has switched to kind of that same mentality. They really don't understand what's happening.
Yeah, well, the other mentality that's become very frustrating to deal with is it's good enough. I mean, everything we do now is good enough.
Yes.
It's not perfected. I mean, we've lived past that period of time where it didn't work unless it was perfect. To a time period now where it sort of works, and the closer you get to perfect, the more disappointed you're going to be.
Well, the business computers do not have 10,000 people. I'm going to power it off and go rekey what you just did. They can't. And they're not designed that way. They don't work that way. But the PCs do.
Hmm.
And in fact, the mentality on a business system, every single thing that's done is automatically written so that when a problem happens, it's going to come right back. PCs do everything in memory, and until you hit something that says save deliberately, you're going to lose it.
Yeah.
Total different definition. Design.
That's what you did right there.
Yeah, this is that timeline data. So this is the period. These are the spots. Yeah, well, they got to sell you something as they steal all your data.
So that looks like a snapshot. I mean,
It's yeah.
How often does it remember where you are?
All the time.
All the time.
Oh, but then it would be continuous lines as you go
Well, look.
one place to another.
Oh, well, I think that these points are like check-in points. They're like restaurants or identified areas.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like they're stop points. But if you look at this timeline, I mean, here you go: 5 places on Tuesday, 1 place on Wednesday, 3 places on Thursday, right? So
And if you click on one of those,
it shows my travel. See that line?
Yeah.
Between the places.
Yeah.
And if I took some photos, it doesn't look like I took any photos. They should be. Oh, there's some photos I took. Work related. I was sending in a laptop.
Really?
Yeah, all associated with geo coordinates, and we're talking about Google Timeline. Have you looked at that? Yeah, maps.google.com/timelines. It's pretty wild. You get it very much so. As I was on it, I was like, I have my kids' Google accounts. I could easily track all their data.
Well, I actually like MapQuest better.
Really? That's still a thing?
Yeah, because I can put it in, I print it, and then Bill, who isn't really computer, he's got
Here.
the paper.
This is, Linda,
So,
this timelines thing.
yeah,
See, this is a specific day.
yeah,
This is my travel. These
yeah.
are the photos I took in the different locations.
Okay,
It's,
okay,
isn't that freaky?
yeah. That's weird. That kind of Big Brother's watching. But anyway, I still use MapQuest because I just print out where I'm going, and then Bill can sit there. He takes his pen and marks out, like, we don't need the Mexico part. We don't have to get out of Mexico.
Yeah.
Right,
So,
yeah.
Then it's right there, and he doesn't have to. Because
Right.
the map in the car,
Yeah.
it becomes like this.
You know that I've become so addicted to mapping in the car, I'll have it, I know exactly where I'm going, and I'll turn it on. Because it will tell me how long it'll take to get there.
Well,
it will recommend even here locally. It'll recommend detours. It'll show you areas locally where traffic is slowing down.
I don't even bother. But anyway, I just print it out for him when we're going someplace. Tells us how long it's going to take, how many miles.
Yeah, it does do that.
And then he just takes his pen and marks it off. It's just easier for him than sitting there looking at that stupid little screen.
Right.
Listen, don't do anything about your trip. Let me talk to Bill.
Okay.
Because we're going to go up to Tucson. And we could wait another. I'll ask him, but let me go ask him first. So I'll call you later.
Okay. Thank you, Linda. Yeah. No. The 15th, 16th, or 17th. Anything before the 18th and after the 14th is when I'm trying to get up there. Because, like I said, I have a place to stay up there, and I fly on the 18th. And I want to be here for our last meeting on the 14th. So between the 14th...
Well, we would leave like right after Computer Club. If you'd be ready.
Okay. You're talking about on the 14th.
That's the 14th.
Well, let me just go home and talk to Bill, and I'll call you.
Okay. Thank you.
See you later.
Are you still live?
I am, but I'm going to shut it down right now. Because everybody's tired of listening to me. We've reached the end of the penultimate club meeting for this season. I was speechless for a moment. Thanks for joining us. We will see you next Tuesday. See you, Gary. We will see you next Tuesday at the San Carlos Computer Club here at Tequila's, where we meet every Tuesday from 9:15 to 10:15ish to discuss the tech topics of the day. We get into some news and some culture, some interesting stuff that typically affects us being retired and computer nerds here in Mexico. Everybody's funneling out, and I'm saying goodbyes. I am Scott Stimson, if you didn't catch it, from International Computer Solutions. If you have computer needs anywhere on the internet, I'd appreciate it if you would get a hold of me. You can reach me, Scott, at internationalcs.net. Or if you have any questions or interest in our computer club, check out scclub.org. Our YouTube channel can be accessed easily by putting in youtube.scclub.org. You can explore our blog. You can search for our podcast, which can be found in most podcatchers. Just search for the San Carlos Computer Club. This is Scott, Tuesday, Tequilas. We're at the end. You guys have an awesome week. We'll see you next week. Until then, stay calm and tech on.